so excited to have you all join us for it. Our topics have to do with the children, and I'm so excited for it. We've got the amazing Epic Realms joining us for tonight. As you guys saw, we had lots of fun during the stream today, and I'm excited to have them popping up over here for our podcast. Myself and Miso was a part of the Off the Pod with him earlier this month, and it was a really great time, and it's been wonderful collaborating with him and Octavius, and for all of our guests that came in and joined us for our episodes, and for all of you guys that have been loyal listeners that have been supporting us since the beginning. We're small, but we're gonna grow, and I'm really thankful for all of you guys that take the time to listen to the stories that we have to say. We work really hard, we try and get good information for you, and I hope you guys enjoy that. So let's go ahead and say hello to the beautiful people that is the amazing Epic Realms, and of course, my waifu, Miso Thorny. Hello, hello, hello. How's everybody doing? Oh my god, my camera needs to move.
Wonderful.
Hi,
You're
hi.
good. I'm hiding.
Don't hide. You can't hide. You know what? I'm just gonna crop my camera. You trying to hide behind my
hide that
camera?
handsome face, sir.
You got dressed up all nice for us too? No way. We are not hiding you. No, sir. No, sir. Not allowed.
I'm in my paranormal attire.
I know, it's amazing. I'm kind of jealous. I'm gonna have to say I kind of need a suit now. I wore a pretty dress, and of course, Lisa wore a pretty dress.
We just become best friends.
Aw,
Yep.
thank you for that subscription, Bentley. You were so sweet. As you guys see, we have a lot of really fun emotes in this channel because we love everything spooky and ooky. And let me go ahead and fix this right up right there. There we go. That's why my camera was off. I didn't have you guys full screen. See now
That makes way more sense.
Now you cannot hide. There we go. Much better. Much better.
Can, but it doesn't make any sense.
So today we've got 3 topics, correct? And I'm gonna be starting, and then I'm excited for Epic's topic. It's a topic that I've been very, very curious about, but I was excited when Epic mentioned it. I'm like, you can talk about it in the podcast. So I was able to reel him in.
We got him.
Got him. But so I'm gonna go ahead and get started. And do you guys want to banter or anything like that? Do you have anything to say? How was your experience with the charity event, Epic? Did you have fun doing it with
It was such a good show.
The Forbidden.
It was fun.
The Forbidden.
I mean,
crew?
we knew the Forbidden Off the Pod was going to be ridiculous from the get go, from the very beginning. We knew we would be making fun of each other, throwing each other under the bus, yelling at each other, but also having a really good time and making jokes and chatting with the chat and laughing. And usually with Off the Pod, we do the different topics, where we pick it ahead of time, and we just never got around to figuring out topics. I was just like, I'm just gonna throw one more monkey wrench in this little ridiculous thing, and it just added to it, and it was a lot of fun. And Mucky was amazing, Octavius was amazing. They're both really fun, and just getting them all together to do that was a blast. And we raised, I think just on that stream alone was like $400 some.
You guys killed it. You guys really
it was awesome.
It was
and,
absolutely amazing.
I think right now we're at 1,358. That's what I'm seeing for the charity. We're headed towards 1,500. So
I'm trying to figure out why my Stream Elements is not activating. I apologize, you guys. I think it's because I don't have the Stream Elements browser open, and that's why my bot's like, F you. You don't want me to work? That's fine. All right, so sorry. That was just frustrating me because I'm all like, why is it on emote only? And that means my shield didn't go down. You guys should be able to type now in the chat if you guys wouldn't mind checking for that. I'm so sorry, guys. All right. Whew. All right. So, yeah, we had so much fun. I was laughing my ass off just watching you guys. It was a great time.
That's good. I'm glad.
It was so much fun.
Yeah, I love watching you guys, interact together. It's very funny.
I love their chemistry. Their chemistry is absolutely amazing. You and Octavius' chemistry is amazing. And then I don't know anything about Monkey, but Monkey, you're fucking fantastic.
Mucky is freaking hilarious.
Mucky's great. Yeah,
we've known him for a very long time. He's been there from the beginning, as far as I'm concerned, for me. And Octavius started after me, so Mucky has been there for both of us from the beginning. So
holy schmack.
So yeah, Mucky is awesome.
All right, so my topic today isn't necessarily creepy children, but kind of weird children more than creepy. I hope that's
It's
okay with you
related.
guys. I know, I'm so
Oh,
sorry.
Juicy.
How dare you?
How dare.
So I'm actually talking about the Green Children of Woolpit. Have any of you guys ever heard of it? Chat, you?
I have not
Anyone?
heard of it.
You've
I've
never
never
heard
heard
of
of the
it?
Green Children.
How about
no.
my chat? Does the chat know anything about the Children of Woolpit? It's going to be a great time. It's a very, very, very curious case. So today
And I
we
would
are...
look it up, but you're going to tell us all about it. So
Oh, of course. And if you manage to find something that I didn't cover, we will bring it back in the future episode where we do a recap on episodes that I didn't give you all the facts. I only have 4 pages of notes this time around. Only 4 pages
I remember
of notes.
beforehand, you're like, yeah, I'm not going to do so much about it. I'm going to cut it down. I'm not going to do so much. And it was like 2 weeks ago, like, I've already got 3.5 pages.
That's our docu, baby.
I cannot
Going down the
help
rabbit
it.
hole.
I cannot help it. It's something that I cannot stop. Like, I can't stop. And so, like, with the duendes, I thought it was a small topic, and I still made that last an hour and a half, I think, for the duendes. The Manananggal, of course, I knew was going to be a lot of interesting facts, but whew, all right. So today we are discussing the very curious case of the Green Children of Woolpit. Where exactly is Woolpit? Woolpit is a small village in the English country, which is in Suffolk, England. England. I think it's Suffolk.
I was gonna say it sounds like the UK.
I think it's Suffolk. The name Woolpit was actually derived from wolf pit, as one might think from the name that the town was named after the sheep, but actually it was named after the wolf pits that they would build around the town to protect their sheep. So they would dig holes and make wolf pits so that if wolves come into the area, they'll get trapped in the wolf pits and keep the town people safe and all that stuff. So that's where their name is derived from. It's from wolf pit, but with lazy English tongue, it eventually became just Woolpit. It's just Woolpit, wolf pit. It just rolls in your tongue easier. Anyways.
My
And let's see. Sorry. I have button notes, but then my notes are missing. There we go. All right. And then the accounts of the Green Children of Woolpit were actually documented by 2 historians, Ralph Coggeshall, who wrote Chronicum Anglicanum, and William of Newburgh, who wrote Historia Rerum Angelicarum. So around the 12th century, during the reign of King Stephen, which is around 1135 to 1154, 2 mysterious children were found inside of a wolf pit. There was one boy and one girl, and they both had green skin, and they wore very, very strange clothes, very unusual clothes, and they spoke in a language no one has even heard of, and there was no other language even vaguely similar to how these children were speaking.
Oh, wow.
It's a language that was so insane. Like you know how we can understand like words that connect to other things. Like we know what words are Latin. We have, but with this one, there was like no indicator of being something similar to how these kids spoke. So it's not like it was like another country or anything like that. So, so they mentioned that they had very strange clothes that was made out of very strange material that they couldn't describe, and they had green skin. So the people didn't know what to do with these children, and so they decided to take the children to the richest man in the town, which was the local knight named Sir Richard de Calne. They refused to eat. De Calne. And once he got them, he was the one that could take care of the most because he had the resources for it. He had the money. So if there was 2 abandoned children, they decided to. Why is it timing you out?
I tried to post the link for the charity.
It's if you're trying to donate, it's C donate. I'm so sorry. For donations, it's C donate. It's in my topic. So C donate for any donations, charity if you want to learn about the charity, and then AIM for information about AIM. So sorry, it's C donate for anyone that wants to donate or anything like that. Speaking of donations,
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I just typed in donate and nothing came up. I was like, they missed it. Here, I'll just copy and paste the link in and get it all. funny, and then it's like,
yeah,
no.
it's C
no,
donate,
yeah.
everybody. I try to put it in the title so that people would know, but it's C donate. Sorry. I'll let you guys know. So anyone that donates during my segment will actually get entered into the raffle. We're gonna be raffling off. Oh, I didn't even see what was the dollar amount we started with today. I didn't see. I wasn't
It
paying
was
attention.
13.
Oh my goodness.
1358. Is that correct? We haven't gotten any right yet, right?
I believe so.
I think so.
Okay, so for anyone that donates during my segment, I actually have 4 notebooks with the original artwork on it. This is actually the flyers that we've had for the podcast as of 2024. So we've got our January flyer over here, which was our Sasquatch loaded episode. Oh, you added 13. Okay, so Bentley, can we add Bentley to the list? I know that I asked I know that I asked John to keep track, but I also need to keep track, I guess. And then this was our February topic, which we talked about the Manananggal. We talked about the Kuchisaki Onna, aka the Slipmouth women and the alien races. And then we've got our Celtic episode, which was on March, where we discussed fairy rings, the fairy dog, aka Kushi, and the Celtic bovines.
Also, Baguette of Dicks also donated 10.
Oh, she did. Okay, so we've got Baguette and we've got Bentley.
Yeah, Baguette and Bentley.
Can you take notes for me right now, Miss Miso, and then we'll trade roles when it's your turn.
I got Bentley at 13 and Baguette at 10.
Thank you. And then we've got this month's flyer for this one, and it is the Creepy Children's episode. So we've got 4 notebooks. They're not the lined notebooks. They're actually really cool notebooks. They're actually like dotted lines, almost not quite graph paper, but
those are so stinking
but
cute.
Yeah, so they've got the original artwork on them, and there's 4 of them to give away. So if only one donates today, or 2 donates today, and that's it, they get to choose which ones they want. So they have a choice. If not, we're gonna have to roll the dice. All right, so with that being said, C donate if anyone wants to donate to the charity. Tiltify changed a couple things, so it's not like it was last time where we would get notifications. This is the best way we could see like the dollar amount, which is boop, up top right up there. All right, sorry you guys. Okay, so the children were taken over to Sir Richard D. Kelm. Okay, and what was frustrating is these children, they wanted to feed them. Like their natural urge was to try and feed these children because they don't know how long they've been wandering about. They don't know how long they've been, and like how they end up in the wolf pit. So they're trying to feed these children, and they refuse to eat any food given to them. Everyone in town actually tried to bring different dishes for the children to try to see if any of them can coerce this children to eat, and none of them refused. Like none of them, like neither one of them would like to eat. And so, yeah, you had a question?
No, I was saying, wow.
Oh yeah. So they just refused to eat. Like anytime they offered them food, they looked at it like it wasn't even food. Like they didn't understand it was food. They had no idea if it was food, or they were skeptic of what was being given to them, and they wouldn't actually any of them. Welcome in, Jex Morningstar. Happy to have you.
Maybe not trusting them or something like that.
Yeah, they don't know if they like poisoned it or like if it's been tampered with or something. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I understand that, especially if you just got like found by some people and they're like,
and there's people that like pull you out of a wolf pit and they're holding you against, like they're just forcing you into somebody's home. I'd be a little bit scared too. It'd be like, excuse me.
And they don't speak your language, so you have no idea what the hell they're saying to you.
Nope.
They're shoving what may or may not be recognized as food to you in your face, and you're like, ah.
Yeah,
I'd start biting people, so.
None of the food none of the food actually would even like tempt these children. So after 3 days of these kids not eating and constantly crying because they're hungry and they can't communicate and they don't know these people and all that stuff. So after 3 days, one of the staff members of Sir de Calne actually came in to show him their harvest of fava beans, also known as broad beans. So they came in and showed him a basket full of the fava beans so that they can inspect this year's stock for it. So it was around the time that they were collecting, it was around the time I don't know what time that would be because I'm not a farmer, but it was around harvesting time when these kids show up. And so when the children saw this lady come in with a basket full of bean stalks, these fava beans, their eyes got really, really big and they got really, really excited and immediately ran towards the lady and like grabbed it and tried to eat it, but they were eating it stalk first. And so you could see the confusion and the frustration of these children because they're trying to eat something that they think is food, or to them it seems familiar because they were drawn to it immediately,
Right.
and they couldn't get anything out of it. So the lady that brought the basket in, she actually like turned the stalk around and opened the seed pod and showed them the seeds, and the kids started eating the seeds. So for several weeks, that is all these children ate. For several weeks, they were happily eating fava beans and all that jazz. So, Lord
This is
Richard.
the green children of, sorry, refresh my memory.
Woolpit.
Jack.
It's the
Woolpit.
green children
Jackson
of
accent.
Woolpit. Green
Wolf
children.
pit. That's what Woolpit.
Yeah, Woolpit.
Because
Green
of the
children
pits
of
for the
Woolpit.
wolves.
So
That's right. That's
fava
right.
beans. Yeah, they at least are eating. They're at least eating, but they're only eating one specific item, and that's fava beans. So after some time, Lord Richard actually grew really fond of these kids. Like he became very fond of them. He became very protective of them. He kind of took them under his charge and all that stuff and tried to take care of these kids. And so much so that they decided to get these kids baptized. They tried to give them a Catholic baptism, which the kids seemed to understand religion. So they understood the concept of religion, and they understood the concept of being baptized. So these kids lived with him. He fed them. He took care of them. He got them baptized. And the boy actually, unfortunately, passed away not long after being baptized. Like he with his sister, she became a little more bold and was more willing to try things such as bread. So she started eating fava beans and bread, and then her palate started to expand, but the boy didn't really want to
Respond.
didn't really want to do anything, so he would just eat the beans. Oh, thank you, you guys. You guys are added to the list.
There we
Thank
go.
you, thank you, thank you.
Hey, that's
And
a
so-
visual alert, at least.
Yeah, you got a visual on there.
Finally.
Hey, hey.
Hey,
I
I didn't get any of it. I had it all set up and it didn't show anything. So I'm so glad that
I'm
it's
so
working for
sorry.
you.
It's because Tiltify changed things and the links were a mess.
Yeah,
it-
they're goobing.
Oof. We did our best. We did our best, and
We did it. That's
The
okay.
troops,
Still- still did
the
this.
troops
happening.
killed it. The troops killed it. I'm like Bishop and Wino. You guys, fantastic,
Absolutely.
fantastic.
Bishop, Wino, Drag, Brett, they all like put so much ass into it.
Yeah. So, so the two children were very, very different. The boy was a lot more reclusive and seemed to be very, very depressed. And he had a very difficult time communicating with people or trusting people. And he refused to eat anything but the beans. There's a reason. There's a theory as to why he refused. And we'll hit that in a later point. So that's why I made a note. Like, it's for a later point. And then the girl, yeah.
I said okay.
Yeah. So the girl and the boy were pretty different. And so the girl was more willing to try other foods after she felt a little more comfortable. She was also very social and responsive. And during the time that they were living with Sir Richard, when they lived with Sir Richard, they actually started being taught English. So they slowly not slowly, they actually picked up English fairly fast. It took them not that long to learn, but yeah. So they eventually learned to communicate in the time that they lived with Sir Richard. And then when the boy passed away, the girl continued, and she then started telling people the story of how they came to be in Woolpit.
Ooh,
All right.
Okay.
Okay.
So
Do they have any
Piqued my
theories
interest.
of why he died, or is that something you're going to touch on later?
it didn't explain, but during this year, it wasn't very like the mortality rate was very low in general because, well, they didn't have the medical that we have right now. This was back in
Right.
1135 and 1154. So mortality rates
kids
weren't
died a lot.
mortality
especially.
rates weren't really you
They were
know,
high. Yeah.
yeah, they weren't very high. So it did, I don't think they focused on that too much, but I truly believe it could be just because of the fact that he was in a different place and he only ate fava beans.
It sounds like he kind of starved to death. I mean, and who knows how long they were in that pit. So
That's not funny,
You
but I'm
know?
nervous laughing, you guys.
No,
I'm so sorry. That was not
I mean-
funny. Okay.
for the children.
For the children.
We are
For the
raising money for the
kids.
children, you guys. For the children. We're at 1363 out of 1500. Oh, speaking of which, someone had something about they were, if we actually hit 1500, there's an amazing
yes.
there's
Epic.
an amazing gift that Epic is donating to the charity for anyone that donates during the charity segment of this one or Miso's. And if we hit the 15 mark, we will be raffling off the Black-Eyed
book by
Children.
David Weatherly called The Black-Eyed Children. It is all of the accounts, and he constantly updates it from the original account all the way through. And I will talk more about the book, maybe,
When it's your
if you're
turn.
lucky,
Yeah.
when it's my turn. But yeah, it is this
Ooh,
book
I
by
hope
David
we're
Weatherly, who is
lucky.
kind of the expert.
So that's a possible raffle item right there on top of the notebooks. And then Miso has something else in stored with Vulgar for you guys later, and they'll tell you about
Yeah.
that.
So if we hit 1500 tonight,
Yeah.
either doing Daku's or
Miso's.
Miso's stream, that will be added to the
And these
price
are
of the-
outside.
Yeah,
the,
Britt, you're gonna
black
have fun in this
collar.
episode for sure, Britt. You're gonna love this episode because you know, yeah. Anyways.
But yeah,
Well,
those
hopefully I
are
do it
prizes
justice
outside
now.
of the black collar ones, guys. So, I'm sure you will. You're gonna do it fabulous.
All right, so the girl, once she started speaking, of course, the very, very first question people would ask her now that she's able to speak is, where are you from? How did you come to be here? And she decided to tell him the story of how they came to be there. So she mentioned that they were from a place called Saint Martin, and it was a place of twilight. And the land was surrounded by a river, like the entire, like it's a land, and it was surrounded by water pretty much. And they rarely saw sunlight, if any at all, where they lived. So there's hardly any sunlight. And she mentioned that they lived in twilight. And she mentioned that everyone that lived there looked exactly like her and her brother, just like them. So, and so one day, while her and her brother were taking care of her father's sheep, her father's flock, they walked past a cave, and the cave, they heard the sound of bells. It sounded like church bells or some kind of bell. And she mentioned that they were entranced by the sound of the bells. So her and her brother actually was drawn to the bells and entered this unknown cave and kept walking in the cave, walking in the darkness, like literally at a trance, just going towards the sound. Like there was no thinking behind it. It was just what was happening.
Right.
So she mentioned going through this tunnel and traveling down this really dark tunnel with her brother, following the sound of the bells. And
God,
so
I would never.
And they kept walking in
follow
darkness.
caves.
And she mentioned that she doesn't know how long they walked, but she said it felt like they walked in darkness forever. And eventually, after walking for quite some time, they saw a light ahead of this tunnel. And so they started going towards the light, and they walked straight towards the light and ended up crawling outside of a hole and finding themselves in the bottom of the wolf pit. And when they turned around to try and go back, this passageway was gone. So they showed up in the bottom of this tunnel, or they showed up in the bottom of this pit. So they came out of a hole because they followed a light, and then they saw where they were. They looked around, and they're in this pit. And then when they tried to go back to what they knew, there was no longer entry point for them.
God, that's so stressful.
Oh,
honestly. And you don't ever follow the bells, man. You don't follow the bells. You don't go into caves. Like, I think one of the scariest concepts for me in general, like, is either endless like caves or labyrinths, or like buildings that are just the same. Like you see scary movies where they like in an asylum, for example, and they go through a door, but it's the same door they just came through. It's like a loop. Like that is such a scary concept to me. It freaks me out.
It makes me wonder where they were before, and if there's like a whole nother
Mm-hmm.
underground
Well,
civilization.
there's different
Mention
theories. We'll
even.
discuss the different theories of these children's existences.
Okay.
There's
Okay.
several
Okay.
theories.
Here.
So, she said that when they came out of the hole and they heard people approaching is when they turned around to try and go back to where they knew, because they didn't want to, they don't know who was coming, so they wanted to run away. They
Right.
couldn't find their way back. And so these people showed up and they were frightened by these people. And then the people took them out of the pit and then took them over to Sir Richard's home. So, after telling that tale, no one really questioned it, and they just, that she's just a person there. But the strange thing is, the more she ate human food and the more she left fava beans behind, her skin started to turn a pink, fleshy tone, just like everyone in the city of Woolpit. So her skin changed with her diet change. We'll get back
Right.
into that. So with that, she actually continued to live with Sir Richard, and she ended up actually working as a servant or a maid for Sir Richard. And eventually, she actually married a man from King's Lynn, and his name was Richard Barr, who was actually a royal official.
A lot of dicks.
Mm-hmm.
Bunch of Richards.
Yeah, lots of dicks, lots of dicks, lots
lot
of bills,
dicks in town.
lots
you know?
of bills, lots of dicks, and lots of,
Lot of dick.
Yeah. Yeah, and then after that, hold on. Where is her name? She goes by a
She's a
specific
goddamn
name.
flamingo.
Yeah. I can't, I'm trying to find, because I made a note of the name that she was given after she was baptized, and for some reason, I've lost those in my notes. I'm sure it will pop up in my later notes, but she changed her name to, well, she didn't tell him her name. She was just given a name, and that's the name she went with.
Right.
And so she became Richard Barr's wife. I think her name was, I think she went with Anne Barr, I believe is her new name. Agnes Barr. It is Agnes Barr. Agnes Barr. Thank you. How do you know? Did you look it up?
I pulled up the Wikipedia because somebody asked what the name of it was, and I didn't want to interrupt you, and I was like, green people, and it came up, and I was like, all right, I got the name Woolpit.
Yeah.
Woolpit, and then it's just up in front of me, and I just happened to look up, and I was like, hey, she just said that name.
Yep, Agnes Barr is the name. And so she ended up living under the name of Agnes Barr, and she married this person and moved to King's Lynn with him. So, with that being said, there are many, many theories, because this is a curious case, and it was actually revisited by a couple people later on because it was such a curious case, and it actually became a story that was told to children in storybook tales. So it became a part of folklore in a sense, but we'll get to why it became a part of the folklore. So
I don't know if you want to pause and plug some stuff for AIM while the ad goes, or just keep
Sure,
going.
sure,
That's
sure.
up to you. I just wanted to let you know.
let's go ahead, and I'm gonna let's go ahead and, well, we just watched the video, but we can show the schedule, because we've got a lot of, we're I think we're a little past the halfway point, but
I think
we're just past the halfway point. But I'm gonna go ahead and pop up the schedule for you guys that want to see who comes after us for sure. And it's been great. Hello, Narik, welcome in. And did I miss anything in the chat, you guys, that I could respond to?
Let's see.
Maybe the brother didn't want to change like the sister did. He stayed away from the human food because he knew. That's what Bentley said.
Yeah, so I'll tell you guys more about that. We're getting there. We're getting there. We're getting there. We're getting there. The ad's gone. Okay, the ad is gone. All right. So there are several theories that came to be, and so we'll go from we'll just do it in the order that I place it. So since back in ancient Rome, so this is the dimension theory. So, since back in ancient Rome, actually, caves were believed to be portals to another world or dimension, which then
That's what I
makes
was
people
thinking.
believe that when these children went through the cave and ended up in the bottom of a wolf pit, it was actually them traveling to a different dimension through the caves
Mhm.
tunnels or through the cave systems. And so they believe that these children are probably from a different dimension or visitors from another kind, aka little green people. Could possibly
Ooh.
be aliens.
Interesting. I was
Aliens,
gonna say that
maybe.
was my first thought, honestly, was especially when they described their home, it didn't seem like they were confined somewhere necessarily. It sounded like it was just how their world was. And you know how like, we get sunlight, that's
Are you
how we
saying they're
look
flat
because of
earthers?
sunlight. Oh god, no, I'm saying they're from a different dimension.
That's a whole nother episode
Like,
right there.
I'm gonna say that's a whole other thing. Let's not even get into that.
Hi, Incubus. Welcome in, welcome
But
in, welcome in.
yeah, that definitely my first thought was a different universe or like a rip or something, you know what I mean? Like they're not from our Earth
Yeah, because they
necessarily. They
mentioned
might
that
be
they,
from Earth, just not
yeah,
ours.
so they mentioned that they lived in St. Martin's and that it was surrounded by water or by a river, and that they did practice a similar religion to what was being practiced where they're from. So there was some similarities, but some
Interesting.
off point things. Yeah, the religion part
Right.
of it, I don't know much about the religion, but they also believe that Saint Martin was a saint, so they had similar religious beliefs as the
Right.
people that they went
And
into, and
that
so
makes
that's
me
why
also think, yeah,
the
the
baptism for them wasn't really something that shook them both, because apparently they were both baptized
it wasn't
prior
that
to that.
unfamiliar, yeah.
So, and back then they
Isn't St. Martin an actual location? Like an actual place?
there
Like
was
an island
there
thing?
was something, it wasn't Saint Martin, it was a different place that was similar. It was like Saint,
I get-
it was another thing that had Saint, but it wasn't Martin. God, I wish I took a note. I wish I took a note. See, I missed something
Okay.
in the notes
I thought
already.
that there's a real place called St. Martin somewhere.
It probably. Who knows? Anywhere near
Okay.
Woolpit, maybe. I don't know. We'll see. So they believe. So one of the theories is they believe that they're from a different dimension, a different timeline, or a different dimension, or a different world in general, and they're aliens. And then, actually, it's not just the Romans that believe this. Many civilizations actually believe that caves serves as gateways and portals to the underworld or realms beyond. Some some examples are examples are Greek mythology. They believe that the cave leads to Hades's underworld, and they believe that it was that the cave that leads to Hades's underworld was located in the region of Thesprotia and Epirus. And so they believe that the cave systems back then. So not only was it the Romans, but the Greeks and a bunch of other cultures believed that cave systems were some kind of sacred
was
portal of some sorts.
so they could do, so they think it was portal to the underworld, so they
They
could
believe it's a
be
portal to another dimension, and people
in
believe,
general,
yeah,
okay.
so they believe that it's a different dimension or different
Okay.
timeline. Then the
Bentley
other
says St.
one,
Martin is an island in the Northeast
Yep.
Caribbean.
oh, there we go. How far is that from Suffolk, England?
It's quite a ways.
I'm like, because they were walking in the tunnel for a ways.
It probably
so,
wasn't even up. It probably wasn't even called St. Martin at the time.
Very
yeah.
interesting that they would have such a correlation with it being so far away too. I wonder when the one in the Caribbean was established by name as
I don't
opposed to
know.
when this happened.
Well, yeah, we'll
Right.
probably have to look
Very
that up.
interesting.
You
Yeah.
continue, and I will Google as our friend.
Thank you. And then
Ooh,
there
Google
is the
Master.
underworld theory.
Jojo.
So another theory is the
I was literally
underworld
thinking,
theory.
smacking my shit around.
Yeah, the underworld theory. They believe that the children were a part of the underground community or an underground commune of some sort, and that they believe that there's actually people that dwell under the ground and lived under the ground, which is actually a
Okay.
common belief in different cultures. Like one of the topics that I'm talking about, this system was also mentioned because I'm going to be eventually talking about Mount Shasta, and people believe that there's people that lived inside of Mount Shasta and used caves and tunnels as like a system to get around and avoid people. So
That's not too crazy, honestly. I mean, that's been used by humans for Since forever, right? Like cave systems, just digging
Yeah,
tunnels,
but
all
there's
kinds of stuff.
there was a theory that people believe that there are people that live underground, like they don't
oh yeah,
surface, that
absolutely.
they live
yeah.
underground.
Yeah.
And
But it sounds
so
like this story, they aren't living underground. They're like outside.
yeah, so and then they went to the tunnel. And so
Right. Mhm.
So it's funny, I made a note about that. So anyways, so there's many, so they believe that they lived in an underground commune, such as the Lemurians, which is an ancient race, human-like aliens who were believed to live inside Mount Shasta and would travel through the tunnels. So that's what I just told you guys. And then it's also very strange because do you know what food they started eating that they were drawn to right away? What was the food that they ate?
The fava beans, right?
Yep. So back then, they believed that fava beans were actually food of the dead. So
Interesting.
Pythagoreans believed that the fava beans could contain the souls of the dead. And since they were flesh-like due to their black spotted flowers, so when you open a fava bean, they look very, very fleshy.
Mhm.
And they are very weird to look at. A lot of people often related it to the underworld or to dead people. And so they found it very strange that these kids came from a tunnel and they didn't really see sunlight. And here they are eating what is considered food of the dead. So,
Yeah,
Well,
they have that
didn't you
very
say they
like
had to?
deadly skin.
You did say that they had to show them to eat the beans, though, because they were just eating the plant, right?
yeah, but
Did
if
say-
you think about it, these were children. So it could have been that their mom served them the beans. And so their mom would prepare the beans for them instead of them. Like they knew what fava beans were, but they didn't know how it was prepared or how it was like served to
Like
them.
once they saw him out of the pod, they were drawn to him
because they understood it
right?
once
Like,
the pod
once
was
they were
open.
shown.
Yeah,
once
it's
they were
just
shown.
like
Okay.
some kids don't know how to cook. Some kids don't know how to prepare food.
I think
Gotcha.
that's
I
a
thought you
very
just said that they were
interesting
eating like the
theory.
greens, and I was picturing them like grabbing
No, they
leaves
were
and
eating.
chopping
They
on the
were
leaf.
trying to eat the beans, and they didn't know how to,
Raw.
and they decided to
Gotcha.
eat stalk
Yeah.
first. And they're like, "This isn't right. It's not coming out."
I gotcha.
And that's why she opened the pod to show them that the seeds were inside the pod. And
Gotcha.
then, so they were believed that these plants are connected to Earth and Hades, and this and it provides a ladder for the human souls to go from above and down below. So that's the underworld theory. So we've got the
I found that, but say I find that one's interesting. I don't believe it as much as the first one, like the like this, I guess, universal like slip or the the slip in time or whatever.
Yeah, the
Because
dimensional.
but they do have that, like, especially back in the day, the way you probably describe someone that's died is like pale gray or green. They had like that death colored kind of skin. But the fact that the kid died again, like, did he come back? Like, was them coming through
he
there
was
if
gone.
it was an underworld?
He
Right.
died,
I said,
and
well, when they
yeah.
came through the dimension, was that them coming back to life? You know what I mean? And that's why her skin started kind of,
Right.
and she grabbed onto life and started
we're
living
getting
life.
to why the skin changed. We're getting
Also-
to that.
I would say,
Also, who's to say that the underworld isn't, Hades' underworld isn't just another dimension?
fair. Very
Wait.
fair.
On an FYI, the island of St. Martin was established with its name in 1493 by Christopher Columbus.
Damn. Oh no.
1493. Yeah, this happened in 1135.
No, far later. Far
But
later.
Yes,
way
I was
later.
interested, and
Way
I was
later.
Not Columbus. Oh shit. Oh no. That's terrible news.
Yeah. So this is the theory that many of them believed, but they wouldn't say because they were afraid they were going to get in trouble if they said anything about it, because they were very, very afraid of what this theory is based on. The fairy theory. So back then, many people believed and still believe in fairies, in the Fae realm,
Yeah, they
and
do.
Fae folk. And they believe that these children were fairies that ended up in their dimension, that ended up living in the place with them because they were abandoned of some sort. So there's the fairy theory, which was the more common theory, which was the more discussed theory, especially since they truly believed in fairies back then, that they truly believed these children were from the Fae realm. And so,
Well, I don't want to. Sorry, I keep interrupting you, but it's just so funny that you say that, because the way the kids are described, especially how they're kind of like weak, the kind of like sickly and weak, this color of their skin, stuff like that. In my topic, we'll get to that later, obviously. But that's kind of how like fey kids are like they're described. So
This is
just
why
gonna say.
this is the theory that I am more drawn
But I
to.
say that's how they're. That's how
This is the theory that
changelings
I'm more
described.
leaning towards. This is what I feel like is more accurate. So
Mhm.
the fairy theory, they believe that the children were fae, and they believe that fairies were spirits of the dead, aka eating the fava beans. Another thing that ties that into it. And the fairy theory would also explain why the boy was so hesitant to eat other foods than what he knew.
Mhm.
So, as per humans, if they enter the fairy realm and they eat anything in the fairy realm, what
Yep.
happens? They are forever bound to the fairy realm. So, with fairies, if they eat human food, they lose their fey side and become humans themselves. And they are no longer
Oh.
able to go back to the fey realm, and they lose all of the abilities, all of the gifts that are from the fey. So,
Very interesting. Okay.
so the fairy theory would explain why the children were hesitant to eat all these human foods. Um, it would also explain why she went from being a fey green color to a natural human
Right.
color because of the fact that she decided to eat human food and become human herself and live amongst the humans, and her brother refused that, and her brother died because he was away from
Right.
the Fey realm for too long. So that's the theory that explains why he ended up passing away and why he was not really willing to eat any other food, and it would explain why her appearance changed after eating it. I do have you scheduled for August. That's correct. I'm so excited for it. I
I'm
do.
very
Yeah.
excited
Yeah.
for that. That makes
I'm
me
excited for
so
Brit's topic. Actually, we're
happy.
going to talk about
My
Brit's.
wife and my waifu.
Oh, yeah. It's going to be
Oh,
crazy.
oh.
And
I'm
so.
gonna send.
So because she ate food of the humans, she is now bound to the human rail, and that's why she chose to live as a human afterwards. Hence why she decided to work as a servant for Sir Richard, find herself a husband, and have children
Right,
with
because she's
said
pretty much
husband.
mortal at this point.
Yes.
So.
So
Interesting.
her eating the food cut her ties with the fairy realm and brought her to the human world and became a human herself. So therefore, that is the theory that many believed. They were also gifted in the talents of seduction. And
Oh.
and there was a person who was actually close friends with Sir Richard that said that once the girl grew up at a specific age, she became rather wanton and impudent towards people, using her charms on every man or woman, and even
Love
towards
it.
Sir Richard himself.
Giggity.
Oh, dirty
So,
girl.
so.
That's Poppy. What the hell?
And then there's
Don't
the
do that.
alien theory, which is some people believe that
Of
they were
course, I was waiting for it.
Yep. Some people believe that they were adaptive alien species who got teleported into the Woolpit by accident, which would explain why they were traveling through the cave systems, because they believed that the cave systems would take you to another world, to another place, and they believed that aliens used cave systems to come into Earth themselves or to different areas. So they used cave systems as a teleportation or traveling point. And it would also explain why their clothes were unusual and unexplainable, and it was a material that they couldn't explain and have never seen before. It would explain the very, very strange language that they couldn't understand anything about or couldn't even get a similar dialect. It would understand why they were able to adapt rather quickly. She adapted very, very quickly and learned English within like the weeks that she lived with him. So, you know.
Oh my goodness, you're getting a raid, baby.
Raid!
Mixie Pop, thank you for that raid. Welcome in, welcome in, welcome in, Raiders. You guys are coming in for episode 7 of the Thicc and Spooky Ghouls podcast. We're doing this as a part of the Black Collar Collective AIM Youth Mental Health Charity Raid.
Did we just become best friends?
Aw, thank you. Welcome in, you guys. How did you come by this channel? We're happy to have you. Yeah, so this is the Thicc and Spooky Ghouls podcast, and we talk about everything spooky, ooky, weird, and unexplainable. And we're happy to have you guys here. We're raising money for a great cause. Right now, our current goal is at $1,500. We're currently at $13.63 and 88 cents. We have some raffle items for it. Jonathan, Thank you, Jonathan. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You are such a sweetheart. Jonathan always tries to hype me up, and I love
Yes,
it.
thanks so
Thank
much
you,
for being here.
Jonathan. Yeah, we're doing a
Such an
charity
important
stream.
event.
We're happy to have you guys. We're a little bit past the halfway point of the charity raid train, but we're going to keep on going until tomorrow. So if you guys want to come hang out with us and hang out with us for as long as you can, your company is welcome. Right now, I am discussing the topic of the green children of Woolpit, which are these green children that were found in the town of Woolpit and had very, very strange things happen. So, they believe that they were adaptive aliens who was teleported into here by accident by using the cave systems, and they made a wrong turn and ended up in our world, which they weren't supposed to be here. And that's why she was fast to adapt and fast to learn, and because and they believe that she was probably more skilled than her brother, and her brother was not able to adapt fast enough. So that's what they believe, and that's why the unknown language, the unusual clothes, the green skin, little
Right.
green people, you know.
I
But
feel like that one isn't like unbelievable necessarily, but their knowledge and like it just they seem so much more human. You know what I mean? Like I feel like the culture shock was like bad, but they like you said they had like that knowledge of like some of the religion. Some things weren't surprising.
but
They weren't like entirely shocked. You know, they of course they were a little bit shocked, but you know what I mean? Like they weren't
yeah,
like I don't know. I
yeah,
feel like for aliens, unless their world is so similar, right? So it
yeah.
just really depends, I
Well,
guess.
if you think about how the Earth came to be, like the scientific explanation of how the Earth
Mhm.
came to be and how we became to exist into this world, if that happened in ours, and there's a galaxy that like we don't even know how far the galaxy goes, who's to say
Right.
that there is not another
Absolutely.
parallel world that's just like ours, that they look just like ours? Because you know, with
Mhm.
how many galaxies there are and how many
Right.
possibilities there are, it could be possible that there was a very similar situation to what happened to our planet to another planet. So you know what I mean?
I think it's extremely likely that we ourselves are like maybe not entirely alien, but there's a little razzle dazzle of alien DNA in there, so to speak. You know what I mean? Like I can
Yeah.
believe that. Yeah, absolutely.
So another theory, which was a later theory, which I'm not really a fan of this theory, but I'm going to talk about it anyways. I don't want to, but you know,
Because you don't want to miss it. You don't want to miss it.
all right. So this is the rich Flemish family theory. So another theory puts them in a different timeline. Another theory believes that they were with a different king and that the
Oh my
king.
goodness. Hold on a second. Looks like we got something
What's wrong?
here. We got a dono baby.
400
Who
and
donated?
what?
What?
What, you guys? Thank you for that donation. Holy crap,
How
what was
much
it?
was it?
It was extra 40 added. We're at 1403 is what we're at.
Oh my god, who was it? It doesn't show on my list. That's why I'm just like,
Jonathan.
oh,
Yeah, I was saying hi to
Jonathan.
Jonathan with him.
Okay,
he was
can you
Jonathan
add,
donating.
5599.
please, yeah, please add
You're
Jonathan
amazing,
to the
Jonathan.
list. Thank you, Jonathan. I love you. Thank you. You're so
We
sweet.
love you.
Yeah.
You know what you did this time.
You
We're
guys,
blaming
we're
you for a
so
good thing
close
this
to
time.
1,500. If we get to 3,000, you guys, we get to see Drag Vega, and I really want to see Drag Vega.
Yes.
I
And Epic
really
is giving away
and
a
did you
copy
guys
of his
see
book.
how handsome he was?
Or
Like
not
he's
his
just
book,
so
but a
handsome.
book.
Did you guys see how handsome he was? He looked so good. He looked so good. Oh my
Yes, with
goodness.
his slick
Oh my
back
goodness.
hair.
I'm a calm
To
myself right
say
now.
Shaku's giving away some of beautiful artwork journals. And then if we hit 1,500, Epic will be giving away a copy of the Black Eyed Children. I can never remember the name of the author at the second, but if you want to.
David Weatherly.
Thank you.
So we've got raffle prizes. We've got notebooks that have original artwork on them of the flyers of the Thicc and Spooky Ghouls as of 2024. So it's the flyers that we've produced every single month so far. So it's got all of them. I've already worked on the flyer for next month, you guys. I like it. I like it. I hope you guys like it. And then we also have the amazing book that's being donated to the charity by Epic Realms. Thank you, Epic Realms. And it's a book about the Black Eyed Children. So, you know, if you like the Black Eyed Children and you want this really cool book, if we get to 1,500 and you donate during the charity, whether it's between me and Miso's segment, it doesn't matter when, you will get added to the raffle for that and my stuff. And then Miso and Vulgar also have a special giveaway for anyone that donates.
Yes. And we'll get to that when we get to mine here in a little bit.
You're on top of the shit that's got to be a pain to do. Yep, that's why I'm always like trying to get I have to get my research done. I research like a month or two
She's
prior to
always
it.
on it.
And
dude.
A little bit of-
actually
just a little
She's
there's
so
a
good.
couple topics that I've been researching for 6 months, but there's just so much, and I'm just trying to find a way of putting it in a specific way that I've been researching them for like 6 months. It's ridiculous. Like one of the topics that I was like hyper obsessed with is the why is my brain shut down?
I don't know. Just rewind and start over.
It said you don't get to know.
The other one is Men in Black. That's one that I'm struggling with. I'm doing a lot of research on the Men in Black. That's one of the ones that I'm struggling with. And then the other one is actually the Roswell incident. There's so much information and it goes so far back. So those are two that I've been researching for quite a while, and I'm still like having a hard time trying to find a way of like getting it to you guys, but I'm working on it. The Men in Black is Jex. Oh my God. The Men in Black is actually an agency that the Men in Black movie was inspired by a comic book that was inspired by actual cases that discuss men in black that approach people that witness unusual events.
Yeah.
such as Roswell.
Like we might have got another one.
Oh, who was
Every
it?
time I try to refresh this dang page, it signs me out.
1428. You guys are amazing. Thank you.
All
right.
Who was it? O'Reilly.
Mine's not updating. I'm sorry. The list that I have is not updating who is donating, and it's really frustrating me because right now it's just showing me so vulgar.
Yeah, that's why.
Yeah, hopefully we can figure out who donated. If you donated, please message us so we can add you to the list for the raffles. I'm struggling to multitask.
No, you're good, boo-boo. I got you.
All right, so the theory that I dislike the most, the rich Flemish theory. Thank you. I appreciate you. Devious was playing with my sister yesterday. She was streaming some. Yeah, she's doing a 24-hour stream right now, and Devious came and hung out with her, and I'm like, that's my Devious.
God damn it, Epic. You little sneaky snake.
Oh, Epic. Thank you.
You little sneaker.
So this is the theory of the rich Flemish family, which takes place with a different king in ruling, which was King Henry II, who had a vendetta to eliminate the Flemish. It theories that the Green Children of Woolpit were actually from an extremely wealthy and possibly royal Flemish family, and when their family died, they were left under the care of their uncle. And their uncle was very much envious of their wealth, and so what he decided to do was slowly poison the children with arsenic. So,
Jesus. I mean, arsenic does have, I guess, like the capability of changing skin colors. That's it.
A yellow tone, but it's fine. People could get yellow and green mixed up. That's fine. Whatever. The bias is there. I'm sorry, guys. The bias is there. It's the only one that puts it in a different timeline than what everybody else is talking about. I'm just saying. And it was a later theory by someone else. So whatever. Anyway, so apparently there was an uncle that was envious of these children's wealth, and since he wasn't responsible for taking care of them until they were able to actually take charge themselves, he decided to slowly poison the children with arsenic. And when that took too long and the kids were sick, he decided to abandon these children in the woods. And that these children were left wandering about the woods, scavenging for food, and only finding whatever they found, and was just walking
Jonathan!
About. What happened?
He just did another 73, my guy.
Aw, Jonathan! We're at 1501? What? You guys, we get to move the goal. Thank you. Thank you. The children appreciate it, you guys. For those of you guys that don't know, we're raising money for AIM Youth Mental Health, which is a great company that is trying to put some focus on normalizing, taking mental health very seriously and providing different sources to try and help these kids find different ways to get tools and different ways to approach situations so that they can normalize, asking for help or all that stuff. It's a really great company and a really good it's a really good cause, and it's for the children. It's preparing our future generation for something positive, which is a really big deal. Like, we as the Black Collar Collective really, really want to make sure that we can provide a better future for for the ones after us. Like, I know that, not all of us is perfect. Some of us have lived some really dark lives. Some of us have made mistakes, but like, we want to provide a better future for the next generation. And so that's why this cause is important, because they are the future and they will be the ones that's after us. And it's really, really important, especially with everything that happens in schools nowadays, that kids are even afraid to go to school. I feel like it's really, really important to have this tool to help them, grow and develop some skills and, become better humans than us right now, become better persons than ourselves.
Absolutely.
So that's really important to us. That's why this cause is really, really important. That's why on around Christmas time, December time, during the month of December, we try to raise money for Toys for Tots, because that's for the children. And then on October, we do charities for breast cancer, because everyone is affected by breast cancer, men or women, and we do it for Keep the Breast Foundation. So we do 3 charities a year. Hopefully we can do more in time, but right now this is it. So thank you for everyone that's donated. We're at our new goal, which is 1,700, and we hit the 1,500 mark. So that means we've got the bonus raffle prize from Epic. Thank you, Epic.
Yes, I'm gonna say, I want to be winning that book.
Right?
Thank you, Epic.
Thank you
Thank you
guys.
for joining
It's
us for such an amazing cause, everyone.
Yeah.
Especially you, Epic, for being on the podcast for it and a part of it.
So the theory believes that these children were wandering the woods and ended up falling in the wolf pit. And because these children were afraid and they were being hunted down, these children decided to come up with a tale that tells us that they're from a different world, so that they can try and survive and live a life separate from their previous life, to hide from their uncle who was trying to kill them for their wealth. So that is the theory that they have for it.
How old they're supposed to be?
Interesting.
Exactly. Did I miss that? I don't know if I just missed you saying
it just said children.
Were estimated.
It just said children. If you can find that, that's great, but I could try to look for it.
I can't think of any, like, they would have to be quite old to come up with, like, even then, like, such an elaborate.
For me, when I do this report, I imagine they're like 8 years old. Like, for me, in my brain, I'm thinking they're between the ages of 6 to 8 years old is what my mind, like, when I was doing my research here, that's what I was thinking for these kids, is around that age range, because of some of their mannerisms. It's just, for me, I just feel like that seems more
to be able to come up with a whole language to communicate with each other.
No, that's insane. Yeah.
Just for a ruse.
Well, they could literally be speaking Flemish. They could have literally just been speaking Flemish, and I don't know why. Fair. I don't find it believable that anyone in Woolpit would not have heard Flemish, to be honest. But they could have been speaking Flemish, or some dialogue of Flemish, if this theory is correct. Which you guys already know, this is not my favorite theory. But I have a little bias there.
But that's the one that's the most realistic. Realistic, air quotes.
Yes, very much so. And so the children wanted to. Why no? Thank you. So the children wanted to make a new life for themselves, but unfortunately, due to trauma, the boy was not willing to trust other people feeding him food, since his uncle was poisoning him. So he wanted to eat something that he knew grew from the ground that wasn't messed with by other people, and that's why he would only eat that. And that's why they were hesitant to eat anything that was provided to them before, because they were afraid that they were just going to get poisoned again. Right. Because when you get arsenic poisoning, you get sick, you end up throwing up. So, like, they obviously, if they were aware enough, if they were like, okay, he's been giving us food that's been making us sick, like, I feel like they would be more hesitant to take food from other people. Right. And so
that's fair. But I say that's a fair part of the theory for sure.
Yeah. So basically, that these children came up with this toll, or this giant lie, so that they can survive and live a life away from their uncle and hopefully just move on with their life. That's what this theory is. So that puts King Henry II as the person that is ruling at the time. So those are the different theories. As you guys know, my favorite theory is actually the fairy theory, but Anyways, so with this case, it actually comes up in the future in 1820. This case was brought up because of a very, very interesting family called the Amazing or the Blue People of Kentucky.
I was hoping this would get brought up with this.
The Blue People of Kentucky, aka the Blue Fugates, is what they were known for. So in 1820, a weirdly similar situation took place. A young man named Martin Fugate came from France to America, and when he was like before he moved, he actually came into he was found in an orphanage, and he had blue skin. So Martin had blue skin. Or as they would describe, he had the skin the same color of the sky. So yeah, he had blue skin, and he was an orphan, and no one knew where he came from, what was there. He was left at the orphanage as a baby with blue skin, and he was raised in the orphanage, and then he was given a grant from France to America to move to America, and he was given a grant to have some property to live here in America. So he received a grant for a piece of land in Troublesome Creek, Kentucky. He settled in the land and secluded himself from everyone, but then eventually married a local lady named Elizabeth Smith. And they had 7 children, and interestingly enough, of those 7 children, 4 of them were born with blue skin. And so the town of Troublesome, they isolated themselves in the town of Troublesome Creek, and they, ended up they ended up raising a family, and within this family, they actually ended up marrying their cousins. They got big enough that the Fugates would marry their own cousins, and with them marrying their own cousins, there would be more blue children born because of the fact that they're related to the Fugates.
I bet there was.
So so eventually they ended up marrying their cousins, distant cousins, but they're cousins. And and they eat, like, some of them had blue skin, some of them didn't, and some of them had children with blue skin, some of them didn't. So the Fugates became a local legend, and they lived a full life. Okay, so the people of the Fugates, the people of the family of the Fugates, they actually lived a normal life and became local legends, and they lived to the age of 80 to 90 years old. So they lived a pretty full life, right? And the Fugates, their later descendants decided that they needed to figure out why their family had this very unique blue charm. So they found this doctor named Dr. Madison Cowell III, who ended up learning, after studying the Fugates really, really hard, she ended up learning that the Fugates were actually a genetic marvel. So they actually carried a rare genetic disorder which caused the body to create an excess amount of proteins in the blood cells, and then it kept their body from dispersing oxygen properly, which caused their skin to turn blue. So
interesting.
Wow.
This case was actually mentioned, and then after that they also found similar cases all the way in Alaska. There were several tribes in Alaska who also had the blue skin. And so they were this person, Dr. Coween, had been studying them, and was also which triggered the interest for the Fugates. And then she also learned that these people from Alaska that are from the tribes had the same genetic marker that caused the Fugates to turn blue. And so, but the only thing is, the weird case with the Fugates is they lived long lives between 80 and 90 years old, but the ones in Alaska, it caused them to have prolonged headaches, constant seizures, all sorts of heart problems, and they didn't actually have a very long life for the ones in Alaska. So the unique thing about the Fugates that actually gets explained after they do some studying with their genetics is that the Fugates, Martin actually managed to find Elizabeth, who had the exact same genetic condition as himself, which then caused them to, because of their mixture of genetics, because they had similar genetics, they actually were able to live longer, because he managed to find that other person that literally
Yeah, what are the odds?
Which is
Yeah.
so crazy, right?
That is crazy, yeah.
And so,
Genetics are nuts, dude.
Dr. Cowan discovered a cure, which she made a mixture of different medicines, and it caused the balance of proteins in the fugates' blood. And within minutes after getting this remedy, their skin went from blue to a more natural flesh tone. So a lot of people believe that maybe the green children of Woolpit also had this genetic marker, despite them having green skin. So
interesting. I think it's a pretty solid,
actually, it's funny
theory.
Because there was a specific episode of the Magic School Bus. Yeah, there was a specific episode of the Magic School Bus where Mrs. Frizzle, oh my God, where are my notes for the Magic School Bus? Oh my God. 1 second.
God, I love the Magic School Bus.
Oh yeah, do you guys remember Miss Frizzle? Amazing Miss Frizzle. I love Miss Frizzle. Hold on.
I do.
Let me pull up my notes on that, because I actually had notes on this, because I remember, like, when I was reading this case, for some reason, that episode of, it's sad that I learned more from Miss Frizzle than I did from my own teachers. I learned more from a cartoon.
Her and Bill Nye.
I learned more from the cartoon than I actually did from my own damn teachers. So I just think it's hilarious. All right, hold on. Let me pull up my other notes for the Green Children of Woolpit, which has more details on them, which probably has the name. Because I think the notes that I have on my Google Docs is not the updated notes. And so that's why I'm missing a bunch of stuff. I'm like, why isn't it here? All right, so where is the Magic School Bus?
While you pull it up, guys, it's a fundraiser for AIM. I'm just going to read the little blurb that comes up on the thing. AIM is bridging the gap between research and access to care for youth struggling with their mental health by finding, funding, and implementing evidence-based treatments, empowering youth to discover their own mental health solutions, and training caring adults to create safe communities where children can grow and thrive. You can find more of the information at aimymh.org. And hopefully I gave Daku enough time to find her notes.
I cannot find my notes on this. But anyways, there was an episode in the Magic School Bus where one of the kids was supposed to receive an award because he was a genius, right? And he was so nervous and he was hiding behind, like, because the students went in there to see him get his reward, and he was nervous hiding behind a bush. And when they found him, his skin was orange. And he didn't know what it is. And then they were like, did you wear orange pajamas? Is that why? Is there did the dye from your clothing turn you orange?
Yeah.
And so, of course, Miss Frizzle decided to investigate why his skin was actually orange. So in the cartoon, she actually gets on the Magic School Bus, shrinks up, and goes and shrinks to the point where they can walk around on his skin. Because you guys know that the Magic School Bus, they would shrink and go into your body and all that crazy shit.
Right.
Anyways, and so what happened is they were looking at it, and when they were lifting the skin cells underneath those skin cells were orange. So it was not a dye of any sorts. It was actually what was going on with his skin. So he was eating these snacks. I think they're called fish wheezies or something like that, and they're these little green goldfish cracker. Actually, hold on, you guys. Okay, so this is a sign for Woolpit. And because of the Green Children of Woolpit, their actual sign has 2 green children on the sign, which is really, really cool. But hold on 1 second. But this is Magic School Bus. Hold on. So anyway, so he was eating these little treats, these little seaweed treats, right? And so that's all he was eating because he was nervous and he didn't really have a diet. So for several days, this is all he ate was the treats. So when the kids end up going inside of his system, they realized that inside of his stomach, it was all orange. And then they saw that the goldfish crackers or the goldfish seaweed treats that he was eating, the seaweed was coming off and what was underneath them was orange. So then they learned that what was explained by the doctor is because he was consuming things that were only orange at the time, his skin tone was actually affected by the protein that they were talking, and it wasn't being distributed.
Faces, I'm sorry.
I know. I
That
saw
picture was
that one little
really,
blurb. I was like,
picture
what?
was really fucking
Yeah,
funny.
this is the Fugates.
my
This is the
God.
portrait of the Fugates.
They look, their faces look cute as fuck. Oh my god! I think it's a painting or something. I don't.
Yeah,
it
this is a
looks-
painting of
The
them.
one on the
of them.
far
sun!
left. It's like, what?
The one, yeah, the sun on the left is really
It's-
getting me. It's like someone photoshopped a man's face onto a child.
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
dying.
Mucky McFly did this.
It's not even the skin. Like the blue skin is not even my problem there. It's the big weird adult man face on that little boy. Sorry,
yeah,
sorry, I derailed you. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. So it's interesting because what Dr. Coween found out about the Fugates is actually what Miss Frizzle learned about Arnold when he was eating his snacks. And so they used the magic school bus to like soak up all the orange. And by the time he received his award, his skin was back to a normal color, of course, because magic and science. But
Right.
I just thought that it was funny that this case just triggered that. And when I did my research, and I'm like, wait, and then I rewatched the episode of the magic school bus. I'm like, wait, and then they discuss exactly what Dr. Coween talks about, and I'm all like, oh my god.
Yep.
Oh my god, I was learning at such a young age. I didn't even know that this was going to be useful in my podcast research when I'm like in my 30s, you know? So,
Full circle, baby. Full circle.
So, in conclusion of the Green Children of Woolpit, we may never actually know how the Green Children of Woolpit came to be, but of the many theories, which theory do you guys like the most, and did you enjoy the most? Which theory did you lean more towards? As you guys know, I was very biased towards the Fae theory, but you know, you guys, it's okay if you guys don't agree with that theory.
Well, I won't dare
fine.
say, but I won't dare say it's a theory of them, you know, being poisoned by their uncle or anything. It's fine. I won't dare say that one, but I do find it very compelling towards like ingesting something genetics. I do lean towards more of like a scientific, you know, and kids are, you know, known to make up their own language, especially close siblings. There's a lot of twins that do that.
Primarily
A lot of
twins,
close
yeah.
siblings. Yep. There's also, because of when it happened, I could believe them speaking a language that was known, just not known to the people locally, because they'd probably be pretty, you know, condensed on the languages that they had heard. So I lean more towards that, and then maybe getting lost or walking through somewhere. Maybe they lived in the woods, you know, confined, and to them that was like a weird, dark world, a lot of dense woods. I don't know if you ever heard. I think it's people nicknamed it like the suicide forest in Japan. It's the forest of the sea of trees.
I actually do want to
very
study
dense.
that for a
Yeah.
podcast episode, but I just feel like it might be too dark. But I that was one of the topics.
It was
that
one of the ones
really
I was
wanted.
debating doing for next month, but I actually was debating it because it
You
is
should do
very
it
dark.
for the locations episode. You should do it for the locations
That's
episode.
what I was thinking.
I think it's
I
a
just
good
didn't know if it
choice.
was too heavy because it's pretty heavy.
It
But
is.
that forest is so just thick and dense. It's some parts are very dark, you know what I mean? And they were talking about it was like twilighty, you know what I mean? You have a little bit of light coming in. So I do lean towards more of that or the slip. The slip in the
Britt says she's with
what do you
me on the Fae theory, so
Yeah.
hey, I got someone else on my side.
That's
but
what
that's
I
okay.
want. That's the one I want to believe.
How about
That's
you,
the one I
Epic?
like the most.
Are you leaning more towards the rich Flemish family theory?
No.
Which theory
No,
did you?
I don't like that theory. I'm
But you
a
better
combination person. I like to look at all the things, and I also like to think when I see things, I want to go, why can't this be more than one thing? And I think I feel that from the things, you know, because we only have the story to go off of, right? So either you can keep some bits of the story or kick some bits out. But the fact that the kids have their own language, and that later, once they learned English, they then explained, you know, the history of where they came from, which is very telling to me. So keeping all of that stuff in mind, I feel like, okay, there's got to be something else in this ground, whether it's an underground world, whether it's a segregated, the tunnel led somewhere else to this other location, a portal, whether it's a portal in time, portal in dimensions, or a Fae, sort of a Fae realm, because you know the Fae come from, like, there are always fairy mounds and stuff like that, and who's to say that's not what's in there, is one of these little locations. So I like all three of those, and I don't see any reason why it couldn't be any of them and all of them at the same time.
That's true. Actually, the reason I brought the magic school bus is the reason people that came up is because they believed that they were only eating fava beans, and that's why their skin was green, because they were only eating fava beans. And when she started eating something else, it changed her protein and made her have natural flesh color.
Mhm.
That's like why the Fugates came to be, and that's why the theory of the magic school bus was also part. It wasn't really a theory; it was like an episode that scientifically explained how it could
Right.
possibly be. You know.
I do like the
because
idea. I do like the idea of the Fae eating the food and becoming human. I like
Oh,
that.
yeah.
That is cool, yeah.
fun.
Did you guys enjoy it? That's the Green Children of Woolpit. I had fun with it, but boy,
I loved it.
but it was one of
I
those.
find that
because-
very interesting. I love things that are historically accurate to, or not accurate, I'm sorry, significant to a place, that they make a sign, or like they, make it a
The
part of their
sign.
town and things like that. I find that very nice.
Yeah,
I wonder if
love-
anybody can trace their DNA back to them.
Yeah, that is very curious.
Like if there's anybody that's like, I'm an ancestor of the,
Because
of
green
Agnes or
and
whatever,
blue are very, could
curious.
change in per
It'd be
person,
funny
you know?
if the Fugates were actually related to them. I would laugh, but I didn't see anything. That
I mean,
related
them
in that
being
sense.
related to those people all the way in Alaska, like the middle trace that's insane. Like that just shows you how far genetics can be spread in such like a short
Right.
period, and to
Right.
such like a remote place like Alaska.
Yeah. So that
very
was
big.
my topic. I had I really enjoyed it. I hope you guys had fun with that one. We're
liked it. That was
gonna do a quick 90-second
Theory.
ad. I'm gonna go and grab some more water, and then we're
Let
gonna
me use the restroom.
prepare. We're gonna go ahead and prepare for Epic Realms' topic. How are we looking on time? What time am I supposed to read over to you? We've
So
got-
it's 11:20 my time. You got about 40-ish minutes.
Oh yeah, will you do it? If not, we'll continue your topic on.
I was gonna say
yours.
I can go
you
part
always
of the
continue
way.
on
We can
mine,
take
yep.
a little break right at the end and do the raid over, and I can just continue over there.
All right, perfect.
Leave people in suspense.
So let's do a quick break. Everybody, grab your snackies. Hydrate, you thirsty devils, and we'll be right back.
We have a huge crisis in our country with mental health. 20 to 25% of youth are suffering with some sort of mental disorder. Mental health challenges don't just affect the person who has them, it of course affects the whole family as well as the community.
We see a lot more anxiety disorders now in kids and adolescents than before. The World Health Organization some years ago predicted a 50% increase in depression and anxiety and other psychiatric disorders in kids by 2020. Some 22% of adolescents and kids have a psychiatric disorder of some kind. Only about 20% of those actually get treatment.
Mental health problems really start early. They don't just crop up out of the blue when you're 20 or 30 or 40. It's really starting from the very earliest stages of development that we can intervene. We're beginning to develop new strategies for understanding what's the biological basis of anxiety disorder, but a whole host of different mental health problems that come from the earliest stages of development that will lead us to better treatment so we can help more kids achieve their full potential.
Treatments are available, but there's an urgent need to develop more tailored treatments that we know will be effective for each young person in their own context.
So many young people who appear for treatment have mixtures of problems. They're not just depressed, they're not just anxious, and so we need treatments that span an array of different problems. This is one area where I think AIM makes a very important contribution, sort of speaking out, advocating for young people, and really normalizing mental health challenges, and in the process reduce the stigma.
AIM has done an excellent job of putting together a scientific advisory board of the absolute top experts in the field, which creates a very open culture for scientific thinking and inquiry.
Scientific Advisory Board is a roster of my heroes, people whose work I have admired for so long and whose science is solid.
The study that AIM is funding, not only are we working to understand what's happening in the brain to cause anxiety in very young, so preschoolers, these are 4 to 6 years old, but at the same time we're also developing a brain-based intervention to help these kids overcome the fears that maybe are preventing them from going to kindergarten or getting along with family or making new friends. AIM is really stepping in by funding early career scientists who we need to grow more of to be able to do this work, to understand what is causing youth mental health problems, how do we better treat youth mental health problems, but also not only funding those young investigators, but funding research that puts clinicians, patients, and researchers together in the same room.
It's a time when government funding for research and for postdoctoral positions is very difficult to find. Luckily, AIM came to support me in a really great way.
We do have momentum now, but what we really need is breakthroughs and progress in research, and that would make a huge difference. That would save a lot of lives and a lot of futures.
With your support.
All right, everybody, we're back. Hello, you guys. Hopefully you guys had fun with that topic. We appreciate you all being here. Seriously, you guys, it means the world. I can't believe we're at 1510. What is up, you guys? That is amazing.
It's so amazing.
Thank you, you guys. Thank you. So we're gonna go ahead and move on to the amazing Epic Realms' topic, which is...
Sorry, I lost my audio there for a hot second. All right. So, for those that are watching, feel free to chat, interact. I'm not. I told Miso and Daku this, that I'm not I can't write reports anymore. I haven't been able to do that. I had a hard time in college and even after that. But I know things. I enjoy topics, and I write myself. I kind of did this a little bit like I prepped for doing a show myself, where I have little jots and notes to remind me of kind of where I'm at, but I definitely like to chat with people about the topics.
I appreciate it. I like bringing the different style, So
feel free to chat along with me, or throw in 10 cents or whatever, and I'll try and kind of keep it as coherent as I can. But this topic was brought to my attention probably 10 plus years ago. I listened to a show that many of you have heard me talk about called The Darkness Radio. And I've also listened to a show called Coast to Coast AM with Art Bell, which is an amazing show. And it actually started with Coast to Coast with Art Bell that I kind of really got into the paranormal. However, I heard about this topic once during a moment where they were doing what they called a parashare on Darkness Radio, where they took callers, because it was a radio show originally, and they would take callers. And somebody talked about this story, and they had known about the origin of these, and they're like, oh my gosh, this is a black-eyed kid story. And they were one of the first people to really blow up the genre of the black-eyed kids. The black-eyed kids originally, so there have been historical stories that are tied that could very well be black-eyed kids that go way back before 1997, 1998, when the first real pop culture story of the black-eyed kids came to be. So originally, in 1997, 1998, a person named Brian Bethel came out with a story about these black-eyed kids. He was in his car, and he had just gotten, I believe he was doing a withdrawal, like a bank withdrawal, and he was in his car and he was ready to go home. And at this movie theater, two kids came up to his car and knocked on the window. Knocked on the window. I can't make the sound of the knocking on the window, but knocked on the window, and it was like this thump, thump, thump. And he looked over and he rolls down the window, and they're like, "Please, sir, can we get in your car? We need money. We want to go see the movie," because they were in front of a movie theater at the time. We need to go see the movie at there. And he was like, originally you think when you see children, you go, I want to help children. If they're in trouble, if they're in need, they're like, we don't have our money. We need to go home and get our money. Can we call our mom? Can we, something along those lines. And he felt this weird dread in his spine, like this just feeling of dread. And he happened to just for a half second look up at the marquee and go, that movie started. The last movie of the night started 20 minutes ago. And I believe he said it was Mortal Kombat. And it's like, and these kids, they don't need to be seeing Mortal Kombat.
What? Did we just become best friends?
Yep. Where are their parents? They're not here. That's creepy. That's strange. And they're like, please, sir, just let us in. Just let us in. We can't come in unless you say it's okay.
Oh, God.
And that's when he took a look at them. And they looked up at him with jet black eyes. And this isn't just the pupils. This isn't just the irises. The entire sclera was jet black. They looked to the left, looked to the right. No, nothing.
Right.
And so he hit the gas, and he rolled up the window, hit the gas, and drove. And he said he looked immediately in his rearview mirror, and they were not there. Big open street, open area. No time for them to just run. They were just gone. And there are lots of stories about this, about the black-eyed kids and the things that they do. And it's really always this whole let me in sort of thing. They want permission to gain entry.
Interesting.
And a lot of people will say they tell stories where they leave from their street encounter. And I believe Brian Bethel said that he eventually went home. And they were at his home, knocking at his door, miles away, knocking on the door. Please, sir, let us in.
It's a bit of like
how the
an
hell did
Apollo
they get
situation. Yeah, like they just know, like they kind of like link onto you.
Yeah.
Once they get it, like.
So there are a few telltale signs. Yeah, just like vampires. And Octavius, thank you for subbing to Adakabera. Octavius is awesome. We love Octavius. So they tend to be 5 to 15 years old, these black-eyed kids. Across the board, that's generally the age range that you find them. And they're always described as, of course, black eyes, but nobody ever sees the black eyes right away at the beginning. But there's always this whole, they need to be invited. They want in somewhere. So like just rolling down the window, talking to them, please, can we come in? Can we come in for whatever reason? Can we come in and use your phone? Can we come in because we're cold? We're lost. Can we come inside? Please let us in. There's very often a story of a smell of rot, of decay, like a gross smell feeling about them. Not to mention, people always have this weird feeling of dread, and they don't know why. Anxiety, dread, fear, and that actually persists after the encounter. People have
also very similar to some vampire lore as well.
Yeah. They also have a lot of the after effects people have. They have like insomnia, like they just can't ever sleep, and anxiety for just they might not have had anxiety ever before, but just now all of a sudden they have anxiety, and just all kinds of other mental health issues and physical issues, which I have a story I'm going to read that was written here in a bit as well. Some of the other things that they say is they're almost always hooded or have a hat where the light shines to kind of cover their eyes, or they're wearing clothes that are kind of antiquated.
That's
out of time. Like the British said, their clothes is usually out of time, generally tend to be like a decade or so out of style. So yeah, for sure. But yeah, very antiquated clothing is also a thing. So that's kind of the two things. And keep in mind, in the era that we're in now, when people are seeing them nowadays, it's 2024. Anything that's a decade or two ago is still not going to be out of sync these days either. You know, when you look at the way fashion was, but sometimes people coming in, like in the early 90s, people were wearing stuff from like the 40s and 50s, you know, attire. Picture the Addams Family type attire that's really like we say antiquated, and
it just seems out of place.
Yeah, there's just something always out of touch and out of place about it.
Are you talking about Peter Pan dresses? Are you talking about the Peter Pan dresses? Hold on, like
nice
these ones,
like the nightgowns,
the black dress
40s nightgowns
with a white collar. You know,
maybe just a little bit.
I think they're called Peter Pan dresses or whatever you call them.
Is that what they're called?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's a style.
See, I didn't know that. But
so they give like an aura about them, like they have like a
yes. There's an aura that kind of gives them like a creepy feel.
Them.
You don't want to be there.
You're
There's
like
something wrong.
Your juju's
usually
on fight or flight. A kid, kids
off.
don't usually give. Kids usually give like an innocence, and these kids give like
the
God.
feel of them is not children, and they don't act like children. So they're very.
Right.
A lot of people say that they have very monotone voice. We'd like to come in. Please let us in. Our mom is going to be worried about us. You know, just this weird vibe to their voice, the way they speak, the mannerisms and the way they talk. Their movements are supposed to be a little robotic as well, and like not the way humans normally act, especially children, right?
Mother will be so disappointed.
What's that?
I hate it.
I said mother will be so disappointed.
Oh, yeah. Right. Also, there's the whole disappearing and reappearing and moving from place to place, almost ghost-like, you know, like a haunting.
Right.
They seem to do stuff like that a lot as well, which you guys talked earlier about some of the things that like these other things, aliens, fae, ghosts do. There's a lot of tie-ins with the Black-Eyed Kids to all of those things as well, which is actually very kind of creepy. But yeah, one of the other overwhelming things that I mentioned is the feeling of dread, being completely like scared for no reason whatsoever. And then you see the eyes, and then that brings it over the top, right?
Absolutely, hell yeah.
The questions people have: what are they, right? What are they? What are they there for? What is their purpose? What do they need? What is their reason? And there are so many theories. Now, before I talk into some of the theories that are out there, do you guys have thoughts? You people in the chat or either of you two, do you have thoughts on?
So I believe the aliens. I believe the aliens. The
aliens.
The aliens. I believe the aliens.
Aliens.
So I think that again, they have like a lot of similarities to vampires and ghouls, especially in the sense of how they talk, their outfits. A lot of times with, I guess it depends on the lore you're looking at for ghouls and vampires, but a lot of them freeze in time, so to speak. They're not necessarily like, you see stuff like Interview with Vampire, they kind of stay them a little bit, right? There's a little bit of them left in there. It's different, but they're still, but in a lot of lore, it's like they become very specific. They act a certain way. They have a very specific goal. You know what I mean? Like, and it's very robotic, right? There's not a lot of free will in the sense of how they act. They wouldn't act like kids. So I'm very curious if there's some kind of like because I don't know, but like I say, I don't know about aliens, but I feel like they feel very like supernatural, ghoulish.
The thing
with the
with
smell
that is,
too.
The thing with that is
death.
I've heard of some stories. Like I've heard some people that encountered a black-eyed child and ended up like seeing, like living, like seeing their whole life go through, finding the love of their life, and then their love of their life dies of cancer, and then they wake up back to right before they encounter the black-eyed children, and they answer the question differently. So for me, part of me, like some of their symptoms shows like they like for me, I just feel like they're more
like
alien.
a time loop.
Yeah, for me, I feel like they're more of an alien species because of some of the cases that I've read about black-eyed children. Kind of gives me more of alien trying to collect intel, plus the fact that aliens are often believed to be you know, radioactive, so cancer.
Right.
So for me,
Right.
that's just
Yeah.
why.
We'll
That's
definitely get
fair.
into
I'm gonna
some of
say,
that
and
stuff.
then
Jack says, so when you said off-putting vibe to their voice, do you mean something like a demonic background to the voice? That's a very
Or
good
is
possibility.
it demonic or robotic?
Robotic was the
Yeah.
term I said.
Yeah,
But-
robotic is different from demonic.
Well, sometimes demonic voices do come across as robotic because you've got that flux of the vocal cords where they're
Or
like
they're
that,
talking through a spirit box.
Brit
or they're talking
said,
through a spirit box. Yeah.
Brit says, I think they're malevolent.
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 Spirits. Thank you. They have similarities to vamps, but they aren't coming to drink your blood or anything. I think they just stuck in time and have something they have to accomplish to no longer be black-eyed children. So, like, trapped. Okay. The
Okay.
smell for me is what makes me go towards, well, not just the smell, obviously, but that is like it's such a big, like, ghouls in a lot of
Right.
a lot of cultures lore. They smell. They smell. They smell. They smell. Vampires too, because a lot of times vampires are more Nosferatu, less Twilight. So
Yeah. And Jax was thinking more maybe possessions. Yeah, possessions is also an option. There's lots of really cool
true,
theories
children's
on.
bodies that are taken, they could not even
Mhm.
be alive. That could be the smell too. They're just possessed corpses, children. That could be something. Yeah.
Now, if any of you watched, I did a show for my 1,000 follower stream where we talked paranormal, and one of the topics that came up was the I've got it sitting here. Where is it? The. Of course, I thought I had it written down here.
It'd be like that.
This is a. Oh, there it is. The Loftus Hall story. Have you guys heard about Loftus Hall and the haunted house of Loftus Hall, where a lady saw?
God.
Now you're going to hear this, and it's tangentially related. So let me explain real quick. Loftus Hall, as I had explained on that show, was a girl. They had invited somebody in, this very well dressed, very rich person that came in, and they were eating dinner, and they were talking and chatting, and he was very charming, very nice, and they really liked him. And the daughter had dropped something and looked underneath the table and saw this hoof, and immediately realized who it was, and freaked the F out.
Right,
And
as you would.
the guy who it was, like, he flew into a rage, and he ended up being, they think that he was the devil. He turned into a fireball, blew through the roof, blew the roof off of Loftus Hall, and was never seen again. And she basically got locked into a room because she had gone nuts, and she died there. And now it's one of the most haunted places in the UK.
Interesting.
Now, the reason I mentioned this story is because, one, he needed to be invited in. And there are many, many stories about demons and devils needing to be invited into the home, being invited into your place. If they want to do possession, oppression, anything like that, you need to give them access. And being invited into your home, maybe they say, let us in, but you think they mean into the house. But that might not be what they mean. And as soon as you let them into the house, you let them into your being. This is a theory.
Right.
Don't let them in.
Okay.
Right. Now, the other part of this story that I thought was really interesting and how it correlated is because Bishop Christina Rake says that when you're looking at demons, devils, things like that, which is one of the things that Jex was talking about, they can't fully take on a human form. They're not allowed. In a lot of religions, they're not fully allowed to take human form. So you always hear, there's something hidden, and whatever they're trying to hide from you, you have to ask for them to show you that. Because whatever they're trying to hide, if they're wearing gloves, say they're wearing gloves, you're like, let me see your hands. Let me see your, they've got something, let me see what you're hiding underneath whatever that is. And usually that's whatever the one thing that's about their physiognomy that isn't human. And they're trying to hide that from you. And I always thought to myself, well, that's really weird because the black-eyed kids seem to always be kind of hiding it until they've been told no at least twice. Then that's when they start to then they look them in the eye. That's when they always see the eyes, the dark black eyes. And that's when the shit really hits the fan and starts to get really creepy, right?
It's funny you mentioned
Oh.
the gloves because for me, like when we were just talking about the Men in Black, and I'm all like,
Yeah.
and whenever the black-eyed kids come up, like for me, like I get echoes of Men in Black in the background, like the same kind of entities as the Men in Black. So for me, I'm just like, ooh,
Maybe the Men in Black are just the adult black-eyed kids.
maybe they've grown up.
That's why they're always wearing the
And I
sunglasses.
feel like the reason they ask permission is maybe their training videos tell them that that's how you interact with people in general. As like this is the polite thing to do. I like in the the Scooby-Doo Spooky Island live action movie where they had like a training video that showed them how to act like a college
God
student.
damn it, yes.
So
Yes.
I sometimes think
Best
that maybe
live
that's how
action.
the black-eyed children are trained, is in this room with a specific video.
They're trained by a Scooby-Doo cartoon?
No, by the video of like, this is how you interact with humans. This is how they interact. It's the same video for like 10 years.
Wow.
So that's
Now I'm
another thing.
picturing like Fallout videos with like, and it's like the black light. Hello, kids. Here's what you do.
Literally, that's the same vibe. I think it's like very, like you said, that there's a lot of different supernatural entities that require permission. I find that very interesting. I feel like they have to be in the same vein as something, in that supernatural realm of, again, we come back to vampires, demons,
right?
Something in there.
Supernatural.
And I don't even think they're like, in my opinion, as of right now, at least, I don't even think they're like kids. I'm assuming they are just taking a form that they find to be non-threatening. Yeah,
Like
exactly. They're not even
shapeshifters
like
instead.
possessing a kid. Yeah, exactly. Not even possessing a kid's body, but
They're
just
like Ditto, where they can't
assuming,
change their
looking.
eyes.
Yes, or like he said, like you have to call them out. You have to be like, you have to like notice a certain degree, or call them out for them to reveal that. Because he said like they never notice right off the bat. I'm assuming you don't notice the smell right off the bat either, because you probably be like, "Whoa."
Yeah, not everybody.
Not
Everybody always talks about the smell. Only some people talk about the smell.
Okay, interesting.
And keep in mind, a lot of people. There's another multi-pass.
Multi-pass.
Add that to your list.
Yes.
So, I also want to point out that sometimes people, we talk about something that smells putrid. Here's another thing that people, you might not remember, doesn't have a really good smell to it and can be considered putrid, and that's the smell of sulfur.
Which is
true,
demonic.
very true. Absolutely.
Now, as soon as I say that,
marker.
and I point that out, what's the first thing most people in the paranormal world think of when they think of the smell of sulfur?
Demons, but also like for me, it's
Ghosts,
also
even.
aliens, because in the Virginia incident, they mentioned that the children, or not the children, oh my god, the little aliens would produce a specific odor that would like just be the worst smell they could put, and sulfuric in a sense, or rotten egg in a sense. That's so for me, like it works for either aliens or demons.
It's certainly never associated with anything positive.
Right.
My
exactly.
But yeah, definitely, like she said, aliens, a lot of times demons, you see stuff like just pop culturally, like supernatural stuff, they really hammer in the sulfur. Oh, it smells like sulfur, we found some sulfur. So
I'm gonna read a story.
Absolutely.
Real quick.
Ooh,
which one?
Story time.
Story time.
Get cozy. Okay.
All right. I'll do my best not to trip over my words. Let me take a little sip here.
You take
that
story. All right.
All right. In the snowy town within the middle of nowhere, Vermont, an elderly couple heard the sound of 3 loud knocks on their doors. They opened the door and saw 2 children, a boy and a girl. Parents will be here soon. May we come in? The children did not make eye contact and just stood there in the doorway. The elderly couple were hesitant, but after a while, they let the boy and girl inside. The kids settled on the couch while the wife made some hot cocoa and the husband asked them questions that went completely unanswered. The wife returned and then noticed that her cat was scared and angry with the children. May we please use the restroom? The wife looked at the kids, and she finally saw them. The children's eyes were black as a starless universe. She directed them to the bathroom and returned to her husband, who was covering his face with his hand. Did you see their eyes? The husband then showed her his hands, full with blood, as his nose was bleeding. The power suddenly went out to the house, and the whole thing turned dark as the kids' eyes. The wife then headed to the restroom and was confronted by the voice of the kids in the hall, uttering, "Our parents are here." The kids then exited the house, leaving the door wide open. The wife then noticed that there were two men at the end of the driveway. Dr. Bear. The men were very tall and very slender.
Mm-hmm.
The wife waved, but did not receive the same friendly gesture. The two men and the children then drove away together in one car. The power then came back on a little later after the kids left. Throughout the next week, weird things kept happening in the house. 3 out of the 4 cats ended up missing, and the 4th had been found dead in a pool of its own blood.
Nar.
The husband then continued
Nar.
to have chronic nosebleeds and finally went to the doctor, where he was diagnosed with very aggressive late-stage skin cancer.
Yep. Cancer is a common thing. Okay, so this is a good stopping point since you just finished the story time.
Okay,
we actually need to start transitioning over to the next channel, which is my girl Miso's channel over here. So we're going to raid over there and we're going to continue the rest of this and then we're going to have some more fun. So I hope you guys have had fun so far, but yeah, let's go ahead and get this raid started for that. And then we're going to continue with the amazing Epic Realms' story about the black-eyed children. So give me just 1 second, you guys, and we're gonna get everything set up for. Oh no!
It happens every time you guys are doing this. There's always a raid right before you guys.
Welcome in, Otaku.
Well, at least they're coming to me.
Thank you for choosing me for the raid. We're gonna jump over to Miso's channel because my time's running out, but it's okay. We're gonna take you guys with us. We're just gonna hold you and just pick you up and take you with us. Don't worry, it's fine.
We're continuing it over here, babies.
But yeah, you guys, I hope you guys had fun. We are still trying to raise money for AIM Youth Mental Health. We are currently at 1520 out of our 1700 goal. We're trying to get to 3,000 so we can get Drag Vega, hopefully. If not, any money raised would be wonderful. But more money, better. So let's get this party going. We're going to go ahead and get the closing theme going, and then we're going to get this raid started for Miso's channel. We'll see you guys really, really soon. So let's go ahead and get this all set up, you guys. I'll see you in Miso's channel. So please hold on.
Take a potty break. Do your things.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm actually gonna go pee again myself. Be right back.